Mr. Trevor Strnad of the Black Dahlia murder. Thank you so much, man, for joining Bangers and Mosh this evening. How are you, dude?
Good, man. Thanks for having me, guys. It's a lovely day here in Brooklyn, New York. I just had my coffee and crap my brains out, and it's time to live, man, you know?
Well, it's the complete opposite here in London. It's been shitting it down with rain for about a week straight now. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you've got a bit of sunshine.
that's what you guys do over there, man, I noticed,
Oh,
you know?
God,
we
it fucking
excel
is.
at shitty weather. It's our it's our thing, man. So firstly, Trevor, I just wanted to say, man, happy birthday for the other week.
Thanks.
I
The
believe you
big 4-0.
you've
Oh,
joined
yeah. Welcome
me
to the
and
club, Trevor.
yeah,
Welcome to the
welcome to the
club.
40 gang, man. Have you
Well, you guys are doing that already, man. That's cool.
oh, we've been there
I
a
need,
year.
They are.
yeah,
I'm not.
I need someone to like show me how to do it.
Have you decided on a midlife crisis yet? Are you going to buy a motorbike or
Man, I don't know. Maybe I'm not gonna live that long. I think maybe my midlife crisis was at 30.
yeah, when you've already had one, it makes it a bit easier, doesn't it? I guess.
Man, I don't know. I never saw myself being this old. Not like I was gonna like commit suicide or something. I'm just so juvenile. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
Like the band
100%.
especially has like arrested my development. Like I'm stuck at like 20, like when we left on tour. You know what I mean? But Jimmy, more importantly, tomorrow is your birthday.
Oh,
Happy
Trevor.
birthday! See the guys
Yes.
they
Oh, man,
snuck
that's
behind your
sick.
back and they put me
Yes.
up to this. I know what's going on.
Absolute legend.
So
That
you're farting dust too, eh?
yeah, man. I am so old. My boxer shorts are haunted. Like it's
Yeah, dude. At midnight on my birthday, I just started seeing in black and white. You know.
I've got sad piano music playing behind me now every time I think back to
Yeah, you have like a haunted player piano just like tethered to your leg.
yeah, that's it. Oh man, that has made my entire 41 years. So thank you, thank you for that, Trevor. Man, that is fucking so sick.
Hey man, no
Um,
worries. Much
that's why
love.
you're the best. So
Ah,
Yeah,
where
you
we
really
wanted
are, Trev.
to coughing up a furball,
yeah,
man.
don't mind me, just dying.
So where we wanted to start this with our mate Tom, right, who fronts Celestial Sanctuary, sick band, shout out Tom.
Indeed.
He put out a tweet the other week about how we're experiencing a golden era for death metal at the moment. And he sort of said that this is what growing up in that 90s scene must have been like originally when that first boom of like Floridian bands and all that. Do you agree that this is the most fruitful time for death metal in years and years? Because every week it just seems like there's a massive handful of just amazing releases. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, I can't even keep up. I try. It's mad fun to try, but
Oh, yeah.
dude, I think he's totally right. You know, I think this is mirroring the kind of boil that death metal came to in the early 90s. You had like Obituary selling over 100,000 copies, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it was wild. And man, I remember coming into death metal, I was a little bit late, and like the article I read that introduced me to death metal was like, this is 95 by the way. It's like um death metal is pretty much over now, but this Suffocation record that's coming out, Pearson Within, is pretty cool. Check it out.
Yeah.
And
Off the bit.
in a way, they were right. You know, like death metal did still keep going. You know, there were bands popping up underground and stuff, but I think it just kind of like it wasn't in the public eye as much. You
Mm,
know what I mean? Like it had kind of like run its course and become oversaturated, and there were so many bands by like 94, 95, and like we knew this was gonna, not that it would happen this way, but I mean, looking at Cannibal Corpse and their whole trajectory, and dreaming of being a band with longevity, we knew that metal's popularity was gonna come and
yeah,
go.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like the underground would always still be there, but yeah, dude, like compared to like me being in school in 99 and being like the only person in high school that had like liked death metal, like I imagine it's a vastly different world in schools now across the country and across the world, because yeah, like you said, this is just really coming to a boil. And I think one of the most important parts was young people latching on to like an old school vision of death metal. I feel like people
Yeah.
were obsessed with like ultra slick tech death for a while there. And but now it's really exciting to see all these kids that value the kind of atmosphere of the early bands,
Mm.
because in the demo era, it wasn't about Olympic playing, you know what I mean? Like nobody could play, there were a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And it was just about making horrific sounding music that had bad vibes, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
to see a bunch of young bands that come out and they kind of get that, you know what I mean, and kind of return it to its like bare bones essence, is really cool. But I also like the super slick shit. I like the Olympic stuff too. I love how, it's always going in 300,000 different directions and kind of like fractaling off into all these little subgenres and stuff. And I don't know, man. Yeah, I really do think it's like sort of a renaissance time right now, and it's really, it's just fucking huge. I think that
Yeah,
like
man.
it's kind of filling the hole where like deathcore's popularity has kind of shrunk back over the last few years, and I think a lot of young kids are
Big
looking
time.
for something heavy and kind of like going to the real thing now, you know what I mean? Like so
I think it's
I'm
Big
loving it,
time.
dude.
I think
I'm
it's like
loving
you
it.
were saying, man, like that polished sound and those, I think it'd been pushed as far as it can go. And now you're seeing like the extreme reaction with bands like Undeath and Frozen Soul and Sanguisuga Bog and bands like that are just taking it, stripping it right back to that fucking raw.
Oh yeah, dude, I love it,
Caveman
man.
shit, innit?
Yeah,
Ah,
it's
Proper
cool to see
caveman, yeah.
kids like freaking out about like shitty sounding trash can snares and like
Yeah.
old school production and stuff.
yeah,
Like I love that. I'm so glad that that's like back and like prominent and got all these young kids excited. You look, those bands that you mentioned are part of like a big rising scene itself. It feels like,
yeah.
like they're like this new wave, this like important wave of bands happening right now. So yeah, it's exciting to watch, dude. We had some shows with Sanguisugabog before the pandemic, but it got canceled, so I'm hoping to take
Bummer.
those guys out at some point.
Oh,
Was just
mate, that'd be so
talking to
sick.
Devin earlier. I love them. I love their new record. I think that they're cool guys. They're fucking hilarious.
Yeah, man. There's just been so much stuff. And another thing, like growing up in the 90s, like whenever you saw an album on Roadrunner or Metal Blade, you kind of knew that you could take a punt on it and you would enjoy it. And now there's so many labels like Maggot Stomp, $20 Spin, Prosthetic, Transcending Obscurity. As soon as you see something is on those labels, now we're all like, I'm checking it out. I don't need to hear a note. I'm getting
Oh,
on that.
for
And
sure, dude. I have labels like that too, where they're just like, it's gonna be sick, and it's most of those
Yeah.
ones that you mentioned, man. That's just so exciting, dude. Like there's
yeah,
labels that are thriving when it's so hard to have a label. Like
yeah,
it's like a losing battle. You know what I mean? I feel like unless you're really specialized like that, you know what I mean? Like selling retro formats and stuff like that to
mm,
collectors and shit. And metal and death metal, is it's a nerd's game. It's a collector's game. You know what I mean? Like this room I'm sitting in is like I'm surrounded by like 4,000 metal CDs. You know what I mean? Like
Cool.
it's just part of my DNA. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and I feel like I don't know. There's more kids kind of waking up to that aspect of it too. Like not just being like religious streamers, but like supporting the scene. Buying physical copies and showing them off on social media, which is cool. Like
yeah.
it's weird that so few people buy physical copies now that like when you have a picture of your fan with one in their hand, it's worth something to show. You know what I mean? That's
Mate,
so
look, I've got
different.
my Nightbringers vinyl
Oh yeah,
over in
dude,
the back
sick,
there.
sick. I appreciate that, man. Um, and like I try to kind of like use my influence for good in this regard too. Like I'm always trying to show off bands and give back to the scene. Like I have a real pedestal where people will listen to me,
Mm,
and that's awesome. And there's so many bands I think are approach it wrongly. Like they're too jealous to like gas up another band. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're
yeah,
afraid
yeah,
they're gonna be giving away their fans, which is like a really dumb thing to think. Like you can only like one band at a time or something. You know
It's,
what I mean?
it's
Or
so
like-
bizarre, man. I really wish there were more people like you. Matt Hafey's the same, Max Cavalera. They're always
Oh yeah.
in their platforms, like you said, they're always bringing through new bands. They're always pointing out bands, always highlighting new shit. And I just wish there were more people who would do that, because metal needs it, and these underground bands and labels need it to thrive and survive, man.
Oh, for sure, man. You know, but I'm seeing more figures popping up. You know what I mean? On the web and stuff that are like really advocating, and you know, it does my heart good to see some other kind of like-minded dudes. You know, you have Schuler at Death Metal Radio. He's kind of like killing it
Yeah,
on Twitter
Yeah.
there, and
yeah,
he's a
yeah.
great
Yeah,
dude.
man.
He's a guy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few guys out there that I'd love to conspire with somehow, like fucking Ken's Death Metal Crypt.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
Ken.
man.
Yes.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Good.
Oh,
Big
pretty
ups,
boy.
Ken.
Him, Pat, aka Crypticus. Um, yeah, Schuler. I think we could have like a real big brain, you know, like on a podcast. It would just be so annoying that no one could even listen to it. You know?
Mate, I would
We
absolutely.
were there, mate.
Mate,
We were there.
that's a fucking great shout, Trevor. You should definitely get that on the go.
The world's
Yeah.
first 24-hour podcast.
Yeah, no doubt, dude, no doubt.
Oh, I'd be all over that. Let's get it kicked off, Trev, man. Honestly. We're chatting to three absolute nerds.
I've wanted to do a podcast. You know, it's been brought up a lot of times, you know, in my life, and I always have these big dreams of doing shit, and it just always ends up being I'm too fucking lazy to execute it.
Oh man, yeah, it must be more. When do you ever have the fucking time, man? Like you must do countless interviews a day anyway. So
Not that much. I mean, closer to the record, I was doing a shit ton, and honestly, like dropping a record right at the beginning of the pandemic was cool. You know, the lane was clear. Like there weren't that many albums coming out at that right
Yeah.
at that exact time, and all of a sudden, everyone was locked down, which meant that every publication was stuck at home, and I had like quadruple the interviews that I thought we would have normally had. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
this, it was kind of like the perfect storm of press, and yeah, no, we could have been stuck at the end of an album cycle with fucking nothing to show for it. You know what I mean? So we might as
Yeah.
well, you know, it was probably as lucky as we could have been to like have this all this content already generated, you know, to hype the record up and like, you know, new artwork, new merch, all the stuff that makes people happy, kind of distract them from the pandemic for a minute. But at that point, we didn't know how bad it was going to get. You know what I mean?
yeah, of course.
And you know, it was before like the protests broke out, before things got super heated, you know, across the world and stuff. So that was like the time of innocence in the pandemic, you know.
Those glorious early days.
Yeah.
But do you think, like, when you get back to touring, the album's been out for so long now that it's albums always need time to breathe and like to grow on you, and now it's had that long to grow on you and people know the songs. Will that give you more of a chance to put more of them in the set and to do maybe slightly longer sets with more tracks peppered in there?
Yeah, I think so, man. And that's awesome. Honestly, like it feels like you said, they never catch up until like 2 years later.
Yes,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I get it. I get how it works. You know, it takes some time to like digest new music and time to dedicate, you know, listening to it and stuff like that. But yeah, this will be the first like album tour where people know the fucking album in the crowd like that day. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's gonna
a
be
real
it
advantage.
could
Yeah.
be cool, man. It could be like another taken to a heightened level, you know, we'll see. But yeah, we're definitely just gonna, you know, it's gonna be Vernius themed, of course, and we're just gonna hit it like we left last April, pretty much. You know, so yeah, we're really excited to hit the ground running. You know, we've did all we could to kind of keep the momentum going while we're trapped at home.
Yeah.
And that's been weird. It's weird fully realizing how much of being in this band is just being hunched over a computer. You know what I mean? Because like even when we're on tour, we're only in one town a night. You know what I mean? The rest of the world we're communicating through like these fucking screens.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
of
just
course.
take away that one show a night and it's kind of like, oh, this is all being in a band is, huh? Fucking weird. Me sitting in my underwear at the computer going,
Oh, mate, absolutely.
Well,
And
I guess it's a bit of a trip, right, for you because you've obviously been in the Black Dahlia murder for such a long time. Since I was a young boy, and I guess with the pandemic, it must be a real sort of surreal feeling for you guys to not
oh,
be out there.
yeah, I think probably weirder for us than a lot of bands because we literally never stopped since 2003
Yeah,
when we left on tour. We took every opportunity we could, and like to be in this band is you can't say no. Like we don't ask the members like, "Hey man, can you tour in 6 months on these dates?" Like it's like, "Here's the tour, guys. We're doing it." Um, so yeah, being in Dahlia is exhausting and relentless, and we have way too much pride to ever stop ourselves. So it
Yeah.
really took the entire world like getting shut down. And I'm thankful kind of because I was burnt out and I never would have stopped. You know what I mean? Like we just have too much
Yep.
yeah,
pride and it's just like our credo to like hit it as hard as humanly possible. When we got signed, Brian and I, Brian being the other OG member and the kind of like people look at me as like the boss of the band because they see me the most, you know what I mean? But really Brian is
sure.
you know, the guy in the Professor X chair, you know what I mean? Like when the shit hits the fan, we're like, what do we do, Brian? Like they don't ask me, you know what I mean? Like, but
and
where was I going with this? Anyway, yeah, when we got signed, we turned to each other and we said, let's really do this, man. Like, we quit school, we dropped out of college, we started touring immediately, and never looked back. We swore to each other that we would see this opportunity all the way through, and we have been going with that intensity ever since. You know what I mean? Just like cranking out records, touring, and I'm used to the fast pace of BDM life. Like
yeah,
people are like, "How can you write records while you're touring at that rapidly?" It's been 20 years of this now. You know what I mean? Like just operating like on a really intense scale like that and working really hard, and it's a labor of love, man. It's not easy to be in a band, at our level.
no, of course not.
It's not, I mean, it's easy. We get to, ride in buses sometimes, which is amazing, which we take a huge hit in the wallet for, of course, but uh it's not glamorous, man. There's a lot of times where you're riding around in vans with fucking equipment sitting on your lap, just like there's a lot of parallels to camping, in tour. So
Yeah,
like honestly, anybody that's left the band, you know, that was really why. It wasn't because it wasn't us, it wasn't personal. It wasn't that they didn't love the fans and didn't love playing. It was the grind, the
Yeah.
waiting around, the
Yeah,
hurry up and
yeah.
wait. And we're very frugal as a band goes. We're out there pushing our own cabs. We're not like just spending money on text to look cool, you know what I mean? Like we're like trying to be smart. We took a few pages from Converge, DIY, be humble,
yeah,
don't be an idiot, and walk home with more money, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, we have no bones about like, yeah, we're done, turn around and start taking shit apart on stage. There takes a certain amount of humility to be able to do that, but it's just, hey man, we got no bones about it. We're keeping it,
Well, I think that's
keeping the
fucking great, mate.
keeping
You
the
love to
cards
see it,
close to
Trevor.
the chest, and yeah, like I mean, we'd love to have techs. Are you kidding? Alan would seriously cry to have a drum tech. You know how shitty it is being the drummer
Oh
in an
God,
extreme
he's
metal
smashed
band
my
and
fucking
having
Oh.
nightmare.
all
Yeah.
of that. I try to help
Oh,
him out. Like I'm a vocalist, so obviously I don't have much in the way of equipment to like lug around and shit. So yeah, he's like my first priority, like helping him get the shit out and into his cases and stuff. And dude, vocalists that don't load, fire them. Seriously, like that's so fucked up, man. There's so many guys that have this like complex like that. Like, well, it's not my equipment,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm the vocalist, man. I'm the chosen one or whatever.
I've
Yeah,
put
it's
my
a weird
microphone
fucking
away.
gig, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bullshit, man. So if you got some guy like that in your band, you need to slap the shit out of him. Is pretty much what I think.
There's some industry advice there from Trevor.
Yeah.
Slap the shit out of your vocalist.
I mean, they're breaking their backs. You better just fucking
Exactly.
man up and be a part of it. And it's it's just,
Yeah,
I
and
don't
they're
know,
kind
like,
of like meant to be your mates, right? You're meant
oh
to
yeah, you know,
just
camaraderie
help
is
your
like,
mates out. You don't just
it's
leave
the
them
most
fucking do
important
that.
part, dude. Camaraderie is the most important part of Black Dahlia murder. It's the most important like element that's kept this thing going, you know, like it's as incredible of a player as Brandon is, you know, bringing him in, he wouldn't be here unless he was cool and was part of like this collective personality that we want for the band and
Yeah.
an asset like that and
Yeah.
good to the fans, you know, like there's so many more factors that need to be covered than just like can he play the shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That
So like,
shines through
100%,
in
man.
your documentaries, like both like
Yeah.
Majesty and Fall 'Em All. That team spirit, that's the number one thing that shines through in
Yeah,
both
absolutely.
of those in both of those.
you know, I would like to tell any band out there, like if you're in a band with hired guns and like it's not going to be fun, you know, if you're
No.
worried
No.
about money, if you're not trusting people that you're like involved with, like it's a whole different world than like our family band, you know, which is kind
Yeah.
of what it's like, a real
Yeah.
family aspect. The guys are my best friends, you know, I do fucking anything for them. And you know, we split everything 5 ways, you know, even though Brian and I are the elders, you know, like we want people to like to be
That's so
as
cool.
comfortable as they can
That's
doing
cool, man.
this. You know
That's
what I
cool.
mean? Like it's not easy. Like I said, there's a lot of sacrifice personally. You know, like your personal life is basically like, you know,
Yeah.
all
Fucked.
bets are off, man. But
Yeah.
so you know, it's really taxing on relationships. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, dude, coming back home after all this was like hitting a wall at 3,000 miles per hour,
I bet.
and
I
you
imagine.
know, just like having no purpose and yeah, it was just kind of like I had my superpowers taken away. You know what I mean? It was really weird.
But is it giving you a chance to listen to some of those millions of CDs you've got and catch up on music that you've missed or not? You know, there might be an album that you've loved and you've only been able to hear it twice. And so
Oh,
is it,
dude, I feel like there's so much great music that I'm sitting on that I've only given that cursory listen to, but I'm still buying all this other music. So it's like I don't
I
think
hear
I'll
you.
ever be caught up, but I'm trying.
Yeah,
You
man.
know,
Yeah.
I hear
like
you.
dude, buying CDs specifically. I'll get tapes too. I like tapes. I like vinyl too. But my main, you know, like I've just been buying CDs so long that that's kind of like my
Yeah.
go-to format.
Yeah,
And
same.
Yeah, oh, man, me too, man.
I'm pretty much get CDs in the mail every day. And if I don't get one, it's not a good day.
Oh,
Standing at the
Everyday
letterbox.
CD day.
It keeps me happy. You know what? 10 to 20 bucks. Make yourself fucking happy.
Yep.
A
I
little bit
agree.
of
I'm with
little
you there,
slice
mate.
of
I'm with you
Christmas
there.
every day.
It's like
Yeah.
retail therapy for nerds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, dude. And yeah, when shit got kind of dark during the pandemic, I definitely was buying a fuck ton of music, even more
I
so than
I
usual.
think we
Like,
all were, weren't it? We were all spending
you
some
know.
yeah, we
serious
all were, mate.
bucks.
It's fucking crazy.
But dude, you know, I'm always out here just like checking everything out. It's like just what I do, you know, it's kind of like a neurotic thing too. Um, you know, I just want to know. I want to know what's going on. I love hearing new bands. I love kind of like trying to assess where things are at with the
Yep.
scene wide, you know, and like
Yep.
you can't really get a full picture because there's just so much going on and you can't know about all of it, but it's fun to like try, you know.
Oh man, we're the same every day in our like podcast group chat. We're like, oh my god, have you heard this album yet? No, that's on my list, but I'm just listening to this one currently.
The
And
never-ending list.
No, man,
yeah,
you,
it's
you
so
hear
cool.
that new Womb Lancer, man?
They're from the Ukraine. They've got 4 followers on Twitter.
Yeah. They got vocals like this.
Oh man,
Dude,
that's
I
so
love how international the scene is too, and like
yeah.
in the last 10 years, I think really I've opened myself up way more to you know, like scenes in the third world and
Mm,
like, you know, scenes that are a little bit less fortunate than ours, you know what I mean? You look at Indonesia, for
yeah.
example, and it's
Yep.
such a hotbed of brutal music. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking crazy the culture there. When Disgorge from, you know, US Disgorge comes over, you know, they're legends of brutal death metal, but what does that really mean in the States? You know, like like 100 people on a good day. You know, it's a very niche kind of
True.
music, but
Yeah.
when Disgorge goes to to Indonesia, they have to move hotels like the Beatles.
Jesus Christ.
That's mental.
Bloody hell.
Like,
Yeah, dude, and like you'll see pictures of like a gang of little Indonesian kids about like 10 to 12 years old, all standing like on their bikes doing the hard stance, like death metal shit, like this.
oh, I saw a picture the other day. It was like a meme that was going around, and it had
Yeah,
like
it was
12 young, and they were all in like
Your metal t-shirts,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, I see, yeah.
Giant, colorful ass, brutal death metal,
yeah, yeah.
t-shirts, and you're just like, you know, I think metal's gonna be safe for a while. The new generation is all,
It's so
it's
exciting because a lot of those bands we spoke about earlier, they're all on their debut albums. Like how Frozen Soul, Undeath, Inoculation have just released an insane.
oh yeah,
fucking-
that's great.
and they're their debut albums. I mean, like Undeath have already finished their second. Like how where the future for some of these bands is so exciting. Like it's like
Oh, for
Century
sure, dude.
Media snapping these bands up off the back of a demo is crazy.
Oh, right. And did you have like Maggot Stomp has kind of been at the center of a lot of excitement,
Mm.
and you have labels trying to poach their bands before they even sign bands
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, man, I feel
Like,
sorry for that guy.
Yeah, dude, for Scott, dude,
Mm.
Century Media and the other labels are like beating his door down, and he has to like play his cards really close to his chest now to not like get bands poached from him and shit like that. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, it's mad.
yeah, it's crazy as fuck. The people with the dollars are realizing that they want a piece of this action.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
hell,
yeah,
man,
absolutely.
let's take advantage of the ride while you can and get your fucking shit out on
Exactly.
Century Media.
That's
Get
it.
it in people's ears,
100%.
dude. It's
That's
fucking
it, man.
awesome.
Absolutely agreed. So talking of golden eras, Trevor, we've just gone from a new golden era of death metal. I've been listening to a lot of your recent interviews, and you've been talking about how you feel that like the Black Dahlia murder is at like you're just at your infancy as far as creativity and where you see the band going and little pathways off into different sounds and stuff. How exciting is that currently? And are there any sort of little pathways and little sprinkles you'd like to put into the Black Dahlia murder mix, like going forwards?
Man, yeah, I think I'm really excited about where we are creatively. Like maybe the most excited I've ever been. We have the most capable musicians that we've ever had in the band.
Yeah,
And what Brandon has brought, like he's the most educated musician that we've ever had through this band. And we're constantly learning from him,
he's
Like,
phenomenal, man.
dude,
Yeah, he's amazing.
he's a prodigy, dude. He's in life, he's very quiet, he's very mild mannered, but he fucking speaks with his hands, and
Yeah.
but he's taught us so much about songwriting, and to be like this established old man band and bring in a young kid like that and trust him with so much, like he wrote a big chunk of the newest two records. He basically produced Verminous and
Wow.
tracked most of us at his place in New Jersey, so yeah, we put a ton of trust in him and just realized like he's just this fucking, he's the perfect bandmate. He's a fucking total psycho,
Yeah, man.
but so like if you look at what he's injected into the band the last while, it's a lot of like classic heavy metal stuff.
Mm.
You hear like
Yeah, man.
on Nightbringers we had As Good as Dead, and that had some like Queensryche-esque riffs in it, some like good
Yep.
old American power metal stuff. And yeah, he's really brought in a lot of like fucking lightning and chains, man. You know what I mean? The song Wereworm's Feast, for example, on the new one is like a fucking King Diamond song. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
100%.
so like, Black Dahlia has always been this kind of melting pot of sounds, like you were kind of getting at there. But I do feel like there is still room to do new things and new old things. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Like we've never claimed to be the most innovative band. We never wanted to be the most innovative band. To me, there's a lot of value in tradition and a lot of value in even stuff that people call cliche in metal. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, that's why you see me kind of staying the course lyrically with like the themes that we've always had, and just it's just what I love in metal.
Yeah.
I love gore. I love being scared. I love necrophilia songs about longing for this person on the other side, and like, it's just this shit just resonates with me. And I just feel like it's important for us to represent death metal, I guess, as I see it, like with the artwork. I try to have like an old school slant on it and have like something that would have attracted 15-year-old Trevor at the record store, just kind of thumbing through shit. You know what I
Your
mean?
artwork reveals are always one of the most exciting things in heavy music. Whenever you know there's a new Black Dahlia Murder album, you're just gagging to see what that artwork's going to look
Oh,
like.
that's awesome, man. It feels awesome to hear that, and I feel a real responsibility to the guys. Like that's always my department. You know what I mean? Like the lyrics, the themes of the band, a lot of like the merch, like overseeing the merch stuff like that, like the visual aspects and stuff, all falls on me, which I love. I love
Yeah.
being in charge of this aspect and kind
Yeah.
of like with each album, I try to tie the themes in tighter and tighter with like the visuals and the merch. And I feel like, Verminous is the best go of that yet. You know what I mean? We had
Yeah.
the
Great.
role playing game that came out with it.
Yeah.
Sick.
Dropping the song Verminous as the title track and the opener track was something that we haven't done yet. Just like it's weird, but like those minuscule kind of tidbits are what we think about now. The very small details, like I feel like we know how to make Black Dahlia Murder music, but it's really, really in the small details of how you can make the songs more three-dimensional,
Yeah.
more gripping, more dramatic. And that has been the focus. I think that has been a little bit of a shift since since Nightbringers, where Nightbringers was really in the red a lot, like a really intense record. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
one is pulled back a bit more like a Heartwork or a Symbolic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah. Yeah.
there's more time for the riffs to breathe. I'm not cramming in 10,000 syllables. We're moving at a little bit more of a relaxed pace at times. But for me, that's just about it makes those fast parts sound even sicker when it's time to get fast.
Yeah,
You know
Yeah,
what
man.
I
yeah.
mean? Like
Absolutely.
I
now
agree.
it's all about playing with dynamics and trying to make the record be this intense roller coaster ride of dynamics. And like that's the important stuff to us now. That's the shit we really focus on, is like, how can we turn the song around into like something different and make it exciting, and just the way of like looking at the real minutia is part of Brandon's influence. You know what I mean? To like really take songwriting to that surgical kind of level. And
Yeah.
we love it. I love making music with the guys. The most exciting thing for me is hearing the first couple songs from an upcoming record, like getting those demos in my mailbox and just hearing where the guys are at, because they evolve every time. They get better every time. They get more creative every time. And then, I feel like I have to rise to the occasion. I feel like I'm just lucky to be here. Like for the most part, I think I'm just a smooth talker, like
PR executive.
yeah, I got a good mind for PR, and I'm a good orator, I guess. I never said I was the best vocalist on the planet. I'm just kind of doing my thing. I don't even really know what the fuck I'm doing. If you want to, if this interview was, hey man, will you teach us how to sing like you? I wouldn't know where to begin, how to like verbalize what it is that I do, like, you know. And like, I'm not one of those bedroom vocalists that fucking practices every single day and like is, I don't know. There's a lot of amazing kids out there, but I think being in a live environment and being good on stage is a whole different ball game
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
Yeah,
than like
I agree.
quietly doing gutturals to yourself. You know what I mean? But like, I respect those guys. There's a lot of guys out there that are way more talented than me. Like I'm not making any bones about that. I just do what I do. You know, it's just what I do, man.
But something that I think you've really like excelled at over the last couple of albums is your ability to create hooks and memorable choruses without ever losing your intensity in your delivery. It's like there isn't a day goes by where I don't have the fucking opening line to Widowmaker in my head.
Yeah.
Like, and you're locked in my sight. I've
Yeah.
create
So
so
fucking
many
good, so
hooks.
fucking
Dude,
good.
writing that song in particular was really exciting. We
Oh.
had written every song for Nightbringers but that. And I turned to Brian and I was like, yo, man, I think you should write an opening song. And usually the opening song kind of happens by accident, you know, it's just like whatever one like really sticks out of the bunch. But this time he went in with a mission to write the opening song, which is a lot of, you know, pressure and a lot of responsibility. But at that time, we were just in such a great stride that he like turned Widowmaker around in like 2 seconds.
Oh,
And
Fuck.
same thing with the lyrics, dude. It just like happened really fast. I was thinking about like classic metal songs about being, you know, a hitman, you know?
yeah.
Um,
It's
Killing is my business, of course, which I stole a lyric from. You know, Megadeth's my favorite band. And if you look, dude, there's Easter eggs in all of our music
Yeah.
lyrically,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
references to other bands, other albums, like lines that are stolen from classic albums, even punk records, like stuff outside of our genre. You know, like I really enjoy that aspect for just, you know, hoping that somebody out there is paying attention and kind of like catching little things like that.
Oh yeah, people
Well,
do.
actually,
as well.
talking about that, Trevor, I was going to say, is it deliberate that all of your albums, the album titles are 3 syllables?
It is now, but it wasn't at first.
Oh, mental.
I thought that was a nod to Morbid Angel, the way they do
Yeah, 'cause the
alphabetic.
In
I
a
thought that
way,
was your
in a
version.
way, it was like once we realized it, it was once Nocturnal was out. Even after that, I think it was like when we came down to like doing the next record, we were like, "Well, we got to keep it 3 syllables, man. We got to keep this shit going." You know,
That's
we
mad.
can't
That
break
is
the
mad.
can't break the oath now. And it really started as our band name was so fucking long, you know, that like I didn't want to have a long title for the first record, so people
That
like
makes sense.
could
Yeah.
at least remember something, you know what I mean? And our name, like, I hate it, but you know, like, it's
Oh, wow.
just, it's a part of the times, you know, like
Yeah, of
a
course.
band named after a crime or a murder with you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's such a late 90s, early 2000s scene kind of band
Sure.
name, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, I love the crime, I love being associated with it, but just the way that it's kind of dated us to that time, you know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't care for that. But you know, I do love like being associated with it because it's just a powerful story. And especially to us Americans, it's one that resonates really hard here. You know, it's like in a way it's about the death of the American dream. You have this girl who moved to Hollywood with, you know, aspirations of becoming a star, and she got cruelly cut down, blatantly left in public, just you know, to be found like
Yeah.
as a statement. And it really was a significant turn. Like it was like it meant that it was the darkening of times, you know, like the
Yeah.
end of innocence kind of, you know, in America in a way. And there's people still obsessed with solving the case, which is also
Yeah.
insane. You know, it almost wasn't just the crime, but like the lore around it that made it so
Yeah.
Yeah,
interesting. And
Yeah.
you know, if you know the context of the name, it's powerful, man. So you know, I was looking for something, you know, already being into death metal for a long time at the beginning of Black Dahlia, for something with impact, you know, something that was going to turn heads and you know, freak people out hopefully. So when I accidentally happened upon this Black Dahlia special at my friend's house, like super fucking late at night, 3 a.m. or something, and the story just scared the fuck out of me, and I was like, how is this not a band name already? You know, and there were bands that had made songs, you know, Black Dahlia, you know, you had Lamb of God had one, Today's
Yeah.
the Day. You know, it's been mentioned, you know, like I said, you know, it's a legendary crime here, but I was really surprised that no one had taken the name yet. And yeah, you know, it's done good for us, man. You know, I think that logo has too. I think it's been like a perfect storm with that logo. You know
Yeah,
what
the
I mean?
logo's iconic now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool that people look at it that way. It means a lot. You know, I would never change it. You know, it's done a lot for us. And yeah, $75 from John Zig, man. Best 75 bucks.
God, best
Best
75 bucks.
we ever spent.
Oh
And,
yeah,
at first, when he sent it back, it had an S on it. And I was like, nah, man, it's only one, dude.
It wasn't a crime spree. It was just.
Oh, and I remember like being really concerned when the movie came out and that the movie sucked. Like I remember we had a band meeting about it. Like, what are we gonna do now? Like, is this gonna like fuck shit up for us? We're like, nah, man. I think actually it's just gonna raise awareness of how to pronounce Dahlia correctly. So that's good.
So when we were talking about is there any sort of little directions you'd like to go off musically? We were all of us have been on like a massive like Death Doom trip lately with like Hooded Menace and Temple of Void and stuff like that.
Nice.
We'd love to hear you guys fucking bang out like a
We have talked
6 minute.
about doing like an EP long song.
Oh
before.
yes,
That'd be fucking
oh,
awesome.
yes.
Oh,
And
that
it
would
would
be
be cool,
so-
and I would definitely force some Death Doom in there for sure.
Oh man,
I
that's
definitely,
fucking
I
awesome,
definitely love
that.
it. Dude, I'm glad you mentioned Temple of Void. Those are my friends basically from where we grew up. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
it's real. I'm super stoked for them to be like, near the top of their genre. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
Hey,
Death
yeah.
Doom is a
Yeah.
very niche. It's a very niche thing. It's awesome as fuck, but like, there's death metal, and then you're like funneling it down to even more niche right there.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
they're literally like gods of their genre, and it's so fucking awesome to watch. And I love their band. I have one of
so
their tapestries hanging over here.
sick.
Sick.
Yeah, it's also another thing that we sort of just wanted to ask you is that you've obviously guested on a lot of albums like Undeath last year. Have you ever talked about having guest vocalists on your tracks ever? Is it
We have, but we're really stern about like being able to reproduce what we record, like
Oh,
to
Right.
of
Yeah, that
course.
to
makes
the
sense.
point where we won't lay down a bunch of extra guitar tracks like a lot of bands. We keep shit very bare bones, and yeah, it's nothing personal. I mean, another thing is like I was saying earlier, so many vocalists are better than me.
Oh, fuck, man.
I
I don't believe that.
gotta keep them away. But I love being on other people's tracks. To me, like I don't take money for it. You know what I mean? Like it's all for friends. It's all
That's
for
so
bands
fucking
that I
cool.
like. It's for bands that I would like to help their visibility. And it's good for us too. It's a good look for us to be giving back to the scene and to like be a part of it. And realizing that, and like all those guests, and like the obituarist article I was writing for Metal Injection a few years back, like that all kind of came to a head at the same time. And yeah, I think that look has been really good for the band as a whole. You know what I mean? To
Yeah,
like be this
absolutely.
person that's out front advocating for all these bands and advocating for the
Oh.
underground. And
Yeah.
hey, I was just doing it what I feel is natural. You know what I mean? Like in a way, part of it's neurotic. Like I said, like I wear a metal shirt every single day of my life. And in a way, it's kind of like a security blanket. And like as I'm putting it on, I'm pumped about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, blood incantation. Fuck yeah, this shit rules. And it's
Are you,
that's
are
kind of
you,
what
Fucking so cool, man.
are
that's
you the
kind of
same
what
as us,
metal.
Trevor? You stand in front of your t-shirts for about 40 minutes every morning.
Oh yeah, dude, I love it. And
Today.
my other vice is t-shirts, man. I have, I got about 4 t-shirts coming a week, and that adds up real fucking fast when you live in a small
Fuck me,
Brooklyn
mate. It does.
apartment, man. So holy shit.
Yeah, I watched your video you did the other day where you showed people around your apartment.
Right
And
on, yeah.
yeah, you were like, I've got a load more t-shirts over here, and there's a load more at my mum's house. And like, it must-
Yeah, all the shit I can't fit into, like all the really, really sick shit, like the old t-shirts are like in storage, like I've got like there was a while where I was buying up like every old Megadeth design.
Oh.
Megadeth's like my first love in metal. They were my first band.
yeah.
I actually hate more of their records than I like now, but they're still my favorite bands.
Your cover of Go to Hell was so like chef's kiss, man.
It
honestly.
was,
Oh,
man.
dude, yeah, that's all Brandon, man. Like Megadeth, those songs of that era especially are deceivingly simple.
Mm,
Like if anybody can play Symphony of Destruction on guitar,
yeah.
but unless you're playing it with fucking big boy balls of steel like that,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not gonna sound cool,
Yeah,
and
man.
he just has that virtuosic kind of attitude to his playing that like lends perfectly to Megadeth, where I think that Megadeth is almost an uncoverable band. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
so talented, they're
Yeah.
so progressive and so, like I said, virtuosic that it really takes a fucking musician to be able to do it. So just like, yeah, he blew us away with that, man. Just and Alan on the drums, Alan is, I think he's the best drummer in the scene. Like,
I
and I
wouldn't
think that
disagree.
he's like gradually getting people are gradually waking up to that. You know what I mean? But I don't think that he gets the kind of accolades that he deserves.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
100%.
Do you know what?
agree.
I don't think Brian does either. I think he's one of the most underrated musicians in the whole of metal. Honestly,
Yep.
like
I think he's cool with that. He's just kind of like he's our Hetfield. You know what I mean? He's the riff man. He's the fucking most solid rhythm player I fucking know, and it's just been like the backbone of this thing. And
mm,
if you notice on stage, like he and I have this thing going. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I guess it's because we've been doing this for so many years together. But we have a sort of synergy and kind of connection on stage.
yeah.
Whereas like stage right, like they have their kind of thing going on. There's always like the connection between the lead guy and the bass player being stuck on that same side of the stage together.
Yeah, man, like it's just a phenomenal amount of talent in your band. I mean, there always has been, but this lineup especially feels like really special.
Special.
And it must be
It does for me too, man. It
mm,
really does. It feels like a kind of a renaissance within the band in a way. You know what I mean? Like,
Sick, mate. I'm
not
so
that I've
sick
been
to hear.
was displeased with Abysmal or like Knight's era. Knight was great and he brought tons of great songs to the band and I love everything we did with him. But yeah, there's just something about Brandon in this era and what he's taught us and what he's empowered us to do. And it's special. It's a special fucking time, man. I'll tell you.
yeah, man. He's a handsome bastard as well, isn't he? He's got everything,
Oh,
isn't
dude,
he?
I kind of I hate him, dude. Like
Yeah, same, yeah.
I honestly hate him. Like what planet is that kid from? Like there's not a hair out of place on his fucking head.
Nope. When he's shredding, his fucking triceps are like
Oh
bulging.
yeah, dude. Especially while he got cut during the pandemic, man. He's got that like V downtown. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
dude,
yeah,
dude
yeah.
looks like a fucking action figure, man. But yeah, ladies love Brandon. But he's married up. But yeah, hey man, it's cool to have a handsome guy in your band. You
Oh
gotta,
yeah, yeah. Not a lot of death
gotta
metal
get the
bands have
ladies
that, do they?
screaming.
So where we wanted to go, we just want some questions, Trevor, about how your sort of journey into music and stuff. And so growing up as a kid, did you have music around you from parents and family? And
Yes, but not like I wouldn't say my parents were musical, but they loved music. Like
yeah,
my dad had a guitar, he didn't play it much, an acoustic guitar. He'd play like James Taylor and shit. But that they played so much music. They were young. They were 24 and 25 when I was born,
mm,
and they had big family on both sides, and both sides of the family were friends. So they
oh
would
wow,
all hang out and rage, and I was fetching people beers. I remember all of them with their little roach clips, like shit that they were probably banking on me not remembering, you know what I mean? But they were
fuck man,
partiers and they played a ton of music, man. It was Van Halen was probably my dad's favorite band at the
oh
time.
awesome,
Def Leppard was another one that brought me in. Basically anything that was like guitar driven, I kind of like gravitated towards.
yeah.
And one of the earliest memories I have and that my parents have is me playing a GI Joe airplane sideways as a guitar
Oh,
wow.
wicked.
That's
along
so
to
fucking
Jukebox
Wicked.
Hero by fucking Foreigner and like singing it in like little 3-year-old kid language, you know what I mean?
cool. Wow.
So, but yeah, man, it started with that, and then you had Nirvana come down the pipes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that
Yeah.
was my first glimpse of like music in the raw, I guess, where it wasn't just good time hair metal shit, which I liked too, but yeah, it just really like hit me, you know what I mean? I was in 6th grade about, and then you had Black Album come down the pipes, which was my first big glimpse into metal, and I still love the Black Album. I'm a guy that will defend the Black Album. I think
No,
that
I love
Good
it, mate.
man.
yeah,
Good man.
if you're hating on the Black Album, you're just younger than me. You're just trying to be
It's
too
true.
cool.
Yeah, it's
True. It's true, Trevor.
So
It is.
true. It's so
So
true.
so like I was dipping my toes in metal, and I heard a few things that I liked, and but it was sixth grade, dude. Sixth grade, first day of school was a fucking nightmare. It sucked. I hated it. I came home, turned the TV on. First thing I saw was the Symphony of Destruction video, and
Oh,
that literally just like caved my skull in and changed the course of my entire life in that
Amazing.
moment.
Fuck,
wow.
man.
And it felt like that. It felt like I was seeing a glimpse that I just couldn't ignore of
Yeah.
a life that I wanted, of somewhere to belong where I felt nowhere to belong. Like
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah, man.
nerd, I was introverted, I was quiet, kind of like that crack slipping person. And I tried my hand at every fucking sport because that seemed like the route to like being your standard man, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
like what people do, but it just never fucking clicked. So when music really went to the level like, well, I'm not just a casual listener anymore, but like this is my fucking thing,
Yep.
and these are my people. Like that was such a huge moment. I was wrestling with my identity. I was wrestling with how I felt about religion, and meeting other people that were atheistic and were like, yeah, I fucking jerk off all the time. What of it? Like it was a lot of relief kind of to like meet these people that were like, I mean, they were equally kind of punks in a way, you know what I mean? Like everybody I knew, like we kind of straddled the line of like we liked punk too, and I came into punk the same time as metal, and a lot of it was trickled down from older brothers and older sisters of my friends.
Yep.
I'd go over to their house, sneak into their bedroom, steal their CDs and tapes, and like tape them, while they were like away.
Yep.
And like, yeah, that was my move, dude. I definitely found out about a lot of great stuff by doing that. And you have to realize, like, you guys know this, but like hunting music back then was a whole different ball game.
Oh,
Like it
Yeah,
wasn't.
it was.
Now it's
absolutely.
fucking handed to you. Now it's like
Yep.
they're giving you an enema with new music all the time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like
True.
back
Yeah.
then, it was like, yeah, you're looking at artwork at a record store. You're
Yep.
you're thumbing through thank you lists. Like it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
the
a
fake
fucking
Yeah, yeah.
dope.
to be in the scene and to like it was a scavenger hunt.
Yep.
But in a way that was so fun because it made you really appreciate every little piece of it. You know what I mean? Like when you
Yep.
got the Disincarnate record, you were like, wow, this is fucking amazing. And you spent a bunch of time with it because it wasn't like the next day you were going to get 10 more records. You know
That's
what I mean?
exactly
Like,
it.
Yeah, yeah.
You would buy
Exactly.
2 CDs with your pocket money, and you lived with those CDs until you liked
For the
them.
rest of the month. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I was going to
True.
say, and one of them sucked and you still made yourself listen to it anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I convinced myself that I loved Human Waste Project. I don't know if you remember them, old new metal band from years back. They had John Tempesta, I think, from White Zombie.
Oh, right on. I went through a new metal phase. I kind of got into like the very ground floor of that, like Rage. Everybody loved Rage.
Yep.
And then like the first Corn record I thought was sick as fuck. I was in ninth grade. I was the faggot of which they spoke. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
spoke to me. Like it was about being rejected and being
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
nerd. And yeah, I had the second Corn record, and then like I became too cool for it. Like I was going so hard in death metal that it was almost to the point of like embarrassment. You know what I mean? Like too cool for the big four, too cool for Pantera. Like all of a sudden, just like really being obnoxious about it. And eventually, that just led to me getting kind of burnt out. You know what I mean? But I think everyone goes through that phase of like being so hardcore into what you're into that like you're an idiot about it. You know what I mean?
It's true.
I
You,
agree.
it's funny because a lot of us grow out of that, but then there's a lot of people that don't as well. And you still see some of those people who are, like you said, oh, the Black Album, fuck that album. And there, there are still people like that. But so talking about sort of going out and discovering music, I think that leads you into your question, doesn't it? That you wanted to ask next. And
Yeah, like I was just sort of wondering, do you sort of remember the earliest sort of album that you bought with your own money, sort of thing, or anything like that? Earliest buys.
Man, I remember my first few CDs were just like, my parents got them for me. They were still cool. It
Yeah.
was like Stone Temple Pilots, who I loved at the time, first Pearl Jam record,
Oh, sick.
Nirvana, shit like that.
Yeah.
But I think it was Megadeth Countdown to Extinction was the first like record that I like made it my fucking mission to go out
Yeah.
and get that. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And it was my own money. And before that I had a tape of it that I basically played to death. Like tape another tape from your friend or whatever.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
that's
I
just
miss
how
those
shit.
days.
That's how shit was, dude.
yeah,
like,
I miss those days.
like I'm still out on SoulSeek. Like I'll take any opportunity to hear new music I can. I'm not gonna like not be on SoulSeek. Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you mean I can hear every fucking band at the like that?
Yeah.
And like especially now that people are streaming, like, and thinking that streaming is like helping any of us at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck, just go be on SoulSeek. You can at least like see the entire scene that way. Like my biggest beef with Spotify is that people resign to just accepting what they dish out and that's it. Like if
Yeah.
a new band comes out and it doesn't hit Spotify, they're like, oh, like that's not fucking dedication. That's not being a fucking
true.
underground hound, man.
Yeah.
I will take music in any format, any way. Like, I just have that ravenous like hunger for it, that I always have. And once I got a cable modem, and that just blew the whole doors open where I
Yeah.
could really learn about the history of death metal, where so many albums are rare, you know what I mean, and so many albums were scarce, like the pressings and stuff. And
Yeah.
and like we said before that, it was all just word of mouth. So all of a sudden you have this forum to like, like the internet to me is like death metal's radio, basically. You know what I mean? That's where people find out about it. That's where people get to listen to it. It's an against the grain kind of music. It's not gonna like ever be as popular as like the other kinds of music. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
by its very
weird,
nature. Yeah.
it's the ugly, offspring, the bastard.
Yeah, the anti-beast of pop.
The black sheep of the family. But it's I kind of feel like Spotify is like a double-edged sword, though, isn't it? Because now what I have noticed is that a lot of bands are putting sort of more effort now into their physical product, and like you were saying, with the artwork and things like that, they're really taking that way more seriously now, to be able to say, look, here's an amazing product that you're going to want to hold in your hand.
But dude,
And
you have to be, man. You have to like be cutting edge with it almost. Like
Mm.
it's so hard to get people to pick something up, man. So you're almost competing with everyone else in terms of like, your pre-order package and the kind of ideas you think to like ramp up the the album cycle.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and it's fairly competitive, man. And like, the pressure of even picking the next artist to do the album cover, like, is mounting and mounting and mounting even more with every record, because we've had such a streak of success, like since Nocturnal, you know what I mean? Where like, I don't want to fucking fuck it up now, man. People like get excited about the big reveal. So I got to make sure that it kicks ass. And there's so many great artists now. There's way more than there were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's madness, dude. I love that about it. I love the aesthetics of death metal still, as much as played out as every, the people that would say everything I write about is played out, and in a way they're right. But like I said, I love tradition. I fucking love zombies. I love vampires. I love necrophilia. I love just tried and true death metal shit. And like, that's what how I want to baptize a kid into the scene with our
Yeah, man.
band.
And that's what we want to
mean?
hear. That's what everyone
that's what we wanna
comes to
hear,
the Black
exactly.
Dahlia murder for, isn't it? That's what they want to hear. So absolutely. So Def, I think you've got the next question up, man.
I have. So, Trevor, what was the first concert or gig that you remember attending?
Oh, you're gonna love this. First concert was New Kids on the Block.
Oh, wow, that's the answer we want. That is the answer.
Yeah, that's what we want,
mate.
man.
That's
I
what
was
we want.
in third
Oh,
grade,
shit.
and my sister was in first grade, and my mom and my aunt took us to the Palace of Auburn Hills to see New Kids on the Block. It was 1989 or 1990,
Oh, wow.
and Yeah, I was probably one of 10 dudes in the entire stadium, you know.
God.
But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I mean, I just like all kinds of music, dude. I still do, you know. Like as I get older, my my horizons broaden even more, you know. Like when it's not metal time for me now, it's all about like 80s and 70s funk and disco and like 80s music with like terrible production that was like, you know, a real part of the times, you know, big
Yeah,
fake
yeah.
drums and like reverse snares and stupid shit like that. Like I love all that shit. You know, so you'll catch me listening to like Chicago's weird 80s era, you know what I mean? Like real dad ass music, you know.
Oh, it's funny, man, because I follow you on Spotify, and you know you get that little strip at the side that tells you what people are listening to. Yeah, your ones are always like Yes and like Boston or stuff like that. It's
Yeah,
so
you know,
cool,
I
man.
don't really play that much metal from Spotify. Like I have an Android, which most people will laugh at, but the reason why is because I can put storage in it. I have
Yeah.
a terabyte micro SD
Oh
where I put
shit.
music on. So it's
Mm.
like, you know, the size of like four old school iPods.
Yeah,
So,
man.
you know, like I have a real hard on for this, you know, like so yeah, I listen to most of my music like from my computer or my phone. And but Spotify, like as much shit as I talk about it, I love the convenience of it, you know, for like the best part is entertaining guests and just improvising on the fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're hanging out with the buds, hanging out with the band, you want to pull out a fucking wild card song and make everybody
Yeah, yeah,
laugh or
yeah.
dance or like I love that aspect of it. You know, I do love the instant gratification, but as far as like being your sole platform for metal and learning about metal and you know like you're not getting the whole picture, man, like not even close.
No, it's true, man.
100%.
So when did you first decide that sort of being a vocalist was for you? Was it seeing Mark Wahlberg up on stage in 1990? That's what I
Yeah,
want to do, man.
I was like yeah, that's how I'm gonna get Jennifer Aniston. Okay, let's do this.
That's what I need to do.
It was yeah, I don't know, like I was always that kid like kind of singing in the mirror and crap when my parents weren't home. I remember there was this band at our school called Shredded Wheat,
Shredded
Oh my
wheat.
god, that's
and
fucking that is
they did
so
like
good.
Nirvana covers and stuff, and like
Oh,
you know they were like decently talented for a bunch of you know seventh graders and shit. And I remember being blown away by them and just like daydreaming about being the singer. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
I wish I could just like nut up and tell them I want to sing, you know? And then I got a guitar around 13 and I wanted to be good, but I wanted to be good immediately. And I just never really committed to the process of like getting educated, you know what I
I
mean?
hear you.
And
Yeah, yeah.
so, you know, I was
Is
playing in
it
like
is it
three
like
chord.
learning karate?
Yeah. You know, I
You know,
was, you know,
you just want to just shoot the fireball straight
ex-
away.
exactly. Yeah, I wanted to go from zero to Hadouken, you know, but like, and you know, like
Yeah.
all the other parts of being in a band were doable. You know, you're making the flyers, you're making the tape layout yourself, you know, all the promotion aspects. We did all that right. We were just terrible musicians, you know. So, um, yeah, where's I going with this? What were we talking about?
Whereas
Okay.
when you decided that being the
Oh,
front
to
man,
start
being the
singing,
vocalist,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, you know, we made a band where I play guitar and sang just kind of out of necessity, I guess, because, you know, we were just three dorks, so we had a three dork band, you know. So, um, yeah, my first band was oh man, this is mad funny. I had a band with my friend Ryan who I'd eventually play with, but like we never got it off the ground at first, and it was called Puppy Parts.
Oh, I was going to ask you about puppy parts because I heard you
Yeah,
talking about this the other day.
Puppy Parts, dude. We had this logo that was like I drew of this like super cute cartoon dog head with his tongue hanging out. It was severed with like X's for eyes. And like I
Oh,
remember we
sick.
painted that on this base that was like this miniature child size starter base, you know what I mean? And we're like, Puppy Parts taking over, bro. You know, but like that never even came into fruition. But my first band was called Cesspool America, and we were
Oh, wicked.
shot. We were fucking terrible. I remember we had a song where I like it had like half of a Biohazard riff that I stole. I remember that. Um, it was one of those bands where we were so bad that we never really played the same song twice. If we came back to it, and like, you came back from last week, like,
Couldn't remember
I
how to play
kind of remember how it goes.
it.
And we were kind of like, though, we defied all genres, as local bands tend to do at first, a little bit of everything wrong mashed together. But then my next band was Transgressor. Um, and that's when we started to get serious. We weren't good, but like we were serious about the promotion, and we took practicing really seriously, and it was really fun. It was fun, and um, we were way into Black Flag, and hearing their story about like everything they did themselves, from the label to kind of laying out the tour circuit that we all still take here in the States. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it just inspired me, to like really not wait around, but to make shit happen, So I took that into Black Dahlia Murder. And I think that attitude was the first thing that drew them to me. Like there were some good ass singers I was up against. I remember that were from our scene, like people that I knew that were already established. And I think that's how I beat him out, because I had already like kind of toured with a like crappy metalcore band that I played guitar in, and I had a taste of, like doing shit DIY. And when I came in, I was like, look, man, I want to be in this band if we're like gonna get real and make a record, and try to get signed and get out on tour, because that's what I want to do. And I think they thought like, wow, like this dude is driven, and that sounds awesome. So
Yep.
so I yeah, when I was playing guitar in that metalcore band, I was still writing lyrics for the singer. I was really controlling about that. And so like I had cut my teeth in writing kind of metal style lyrics, at least, you know,
Yeah.
coming into Black Dahlia Murder. And then like I knew Brian from like, the scene was small in Michigan, and he was one of the other fellow dorks that like wasn't cool, you know what I mean, at the shows. So
Just drawn
we
to each other.
gravitated toward each other. And he moshed to our band one time, and I remember thinking that was really cool. And so yeah, I talked to Brian here and there, and he hit me up online and was like, "Yo, man, I'm trying to get this band off the ground, and we're looking for a singer. And do you like know anybody that could do it?" And I heard it, and I thought, like, "Whoa, these guys are like fucking like musicians, Like even the early demos, as primitive as they were compared to what we do now, was way beyond what I could play on guitar. Like, and they were younger than me. At that point is when I pretty much set my guitar down and was like, "Yo, man, I think I want to be the vocalist for this band and like really go for it."
Sick.
So I went out there, I practiced with them once, and um, like the sound wasn't dialed in, like vocally. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have like a metal scream quite yet nailed, but like the lyrics were there, the attitude was there, the gusto to like go out on tour and all that stuff. So, they had me back a few times, and by the time um the final time I came out, they had written an entire song. I'd studied it like religiously, wrote lyrics to it in my underwear at the computer, like I still do. And I
Tried
came
and
there with
tested.
I came there with it all memorized, and we played the song. And then they I could tell in their faces that they were like, "Yo, like this is going real well." And we did it again, and we did it again. And they're like, "Hey, man, you want to go to the show with us?" It was Poison the Well, like right when they were at their super
Oh my
height on
god.
opposite
Blimey.
of December. It was like them, and
Oh,
weirdly, it got combined with a Circle of Dead Children show. So it was a very, very
Eclectic.
dynamic lineup
Fucking
there.
hell.
But during the show, they kind of like cornered me and were like, "So, you want to sing for the band or what?" I was like, "Dude, fuck yeah, man!" So just from
Oh,
that moment, dude, it
so
just
sick.
just started taking it really seriously. We were practicing a lot, and just coming from starting with that approach and that attitude, like we want to do something. Like this is not just casual. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was like the catalyst.
Yeah.
And like I was the guy reaching out to the labels. We sent out 30 packages to labels, 30 different labels, big to small, super death metal to a bit more metalcore leaning to anything in between, man. Basically, more punk walk of things to like the super leather clad dudes, just every fucking label out there that we thought could like do something. And 28 rejection letters later,
Man.
We were going to sign with Willowtip, who I still love, and I'm still in contact with Jason. I love everything he puts out.
Oh, great
But
label.
there was that moment where we had his contract in our hands, and Metal Blade called. They were like stragglers, like we'd already given up on them. And when they called, like I thought it was a prank, even because it was so like far removed from all the other responses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't like it wasn't Slagle that called us up, but Mike Faley, who is like the second in command over there, who I didn't know who he was at the time. You know what I mean? So like, well, it wasn't Slagle calling, it's this other guy. Who is this guy? Is this a fucking prank? You know? And so, we had to tell Willowtip, like, listen, dude, I'm sorry, but obviously you understand. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
this
of
is a
course.
really big opportunity and we have to take it. So he was, embittered for a while, which I understand, but we're cool now. Me and Jason, I try to help him out with new bands I think are cool. That's like another thing I do a lot of is try to help bands get to the label they should be on. You know what I mean? Just like trying to lend a helping hand, give them the right email address or put in a word for them or
Oh, that's
whatever,
so cool,
That's
man.
cool,
it's
man.
something
That's
I
cool.
enjoy, and I, just like try to help. I'm just trying to help the scene, from my vantage point, basically.
It's like I really love the way that you and the band just have such fucking awesome. So it's almost like hardcore punk like ethos. Like you want to
Oh,
give
we
back and you
do,
want to help people, and you're all
we
really
do.
humble and you're nice guys. And I just think that's fucking.
Yeah,
It
that was
warms my
our,
heart to see that.
you know, uh, the very initial incarnation of this band. If you listen to the demo, it's very metalcore. It's very metalcore of the time. Like we were worshiping Prayer for Cleansing, the pre-BT Bam bands, and Undying, and yeah, stuff like that. Like the metalcore that was starting to bite at the gates. You know what I mean? Like that hadn't
Yeah,
become the huge thing that it is now. But
Yeah.
like, so I mean, we did cut our teeth playing all hardcore shows. And growing up in a hardcore
that's
scene,
sick.
like there might have been a death metal scene, in Detroit, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I couldn't find it. And, at the time, like our scene was so small that like crossover shit was welcome. You know what I mean? Like death metal
Yeah,
bands were playing with these kind of bands. And you had the early Willow Tip bands that were kind of like death metal on a punk scale in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So there
yeah,
was a lot, I've always been a punk, like parallel to being a metalhead. So a lot of what we do and a lot of what we do, the way we carry ourselves was learned from hardcore and punk, being humble, breaking down that fourth wall, realizing you're the same as the fucking fans,
Yeah.
helping each other out. Like the competitive thing, like to me, it's such a turnoff, man. Like we should all be
totally.
helping each other out. I'm thankful all these other fucking
Exactly.
bands are here, man. Like I want the whole scene to be lifted up, Like it's not about
Yeah,
like some kind of monetary gain or status gain on my end or something. It's about the whole and just something I love and just it's given so much to me that like I don't know, I just feel obligated. It's not ever a chore to do what I do. It's just out of love.
Mate,
you can
it's just,
totally
yeah.
tell.
You can,
Yeah.
yeah, it really comes across, man. Like I listen, like I said, I've listened to so many of your interviews recently, and you've done so many of them that you see sometimes with musicians, and you can tell when they've done a lot of interviews and all the answers are stock, and you know, and you get an awkward silence between things, and it's never like that with you guys. It's always so. It is like you're
Flowing.
just buzzing to be talking about the thing that you love the most.
I really am. I look forward to interviews. A part of it is just meeting other like-minded individuals like yourselves that
Mm.
I respect, and like it's good for my heart, man, because me in the real world, I don't know what to tell you about that, but it's not great. Like this is like where I have my strength in life. This is where I come out of my shell, and like that quiet kid from high school. Like this is where I kind of like bloomed a bit late into this excitable person. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, absolutely. No, of course. It's yeah, it's the same with us three. Like just starting this podcast, we just did it. We didn't even care if anyone listens or not. We had all this music inside of us that we just had to start talking
Oh,
about.
let it out!
Yeah, and we were like, look, let's just do it. We waffle about this all the time anyway, so let's just fucking do it and press record and see, and see if anyone. And it is like you're saying, it's so heartwarming. It's the highlight of my week doing this stuff, and you do have to have an outlet for the thing that you love the most, and it's so cool that you've managed to get not only being in a fucking killer band, but also having this other side of it as well, where you can talk to people all the time about the thing you love the most.
Oh yeah, I love that, man. It's awesome to be a figure in this whole thing somehow. I feel really honored that people want to listen to what I have to say, and it's all fun for me, man. It's all just spreading the love, man.
Oh, of course, man. It's so cool. So just sort of to finish up, man, I know you've talked about the real world and music is your main thing, but what are your interests and sort of hobbies outside of music? I know retro gaming's massive for you, isn't it? And
yeah, retro gaming. I'm a very nostalgic person overall. Like I love like 80s movies and shit like that.
Cool.
I I love horror, obviously. You can probably tell from Black Dahlia. So I definitely I don't love new horror that much. I
You
feel
can't
like
beat the
there's
old horrors.
yeah,
Can't beat the
there
old
is some
horrors.
cool new shit that comes out every once in a while, but for the most part, yeah, I feel like the old shit's just sick. And um but yeah, dude, a lot of it, a lot of my hobbies are music, you know what I mean? Like I'm collecting music all the time. The last couple years especially has been like tunnel vision on black metal. I actually have a secret black metal band that has a demo out that yeah, I sang on it at the beginning of the pandemic.
way.
I'll tell you guys when the camera's off.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Oh my god!
But I've been doing that too, and that's kind of like, yeah, it's been really fun to kind of try my hand at that scene. Like I'm
Cool.
doing it anonymously because I wanted to see, like, I just believed in the band and I thought maybe we could get people excited about it for what it is. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and not because of a name attached to
Right,
it.
and also like if you travel into the super elite corners of the world, Black Dahlia Murder is not always, you know, given respect in those corners.
Yes,
So I thought
I
I'd
hear
fool
you.
them.
That's fucking
Yeah, man,
genius.
that'll be so funny when
Fucking
one
genius.
day you just like take off the black coat like Scooby Doo, and like and underneath is Trevor.
I
Yeah.
think that's the plan eventually, man. But for now, like, yeah, I sang on this demo and it scored me like an opportunity with another black metal band, which I think I am going to actually put my name on going forth.
Oh,
It's
wow.
going to be me and Dan from Artificial Brain. He asked me to sing
Oh
on like
wow!
a 5-song EP, and it's sort of like in the vein of like Aesoth or Six. Like, it's mostly straightforward with a touch of dissonance here and there.
Sweet.
But the other band, the secret band I'm gonna show you guys, is like some crack smoking black metal shit. Like
Oh, fuck
fucking-
yes.
We'll have free copies.
Load
Yeah,
up that
it's-
pipe, mate.
it's out there, dude. It is fucking
Oh
out there. Shit.
shit!
Oh man,
But
black metal as well is absolutely. It's just it's the same as death metal. There's so many amazing black metal releases coming
Especially
out at the
this year,
moment.
yeah. Especially this year,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
This year
cool.
smashed
I
it.
think people are really like, you have like a real rise of like the one man band lately.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Especially like in America, especially, there's a lot of really cool. You got Lamp of Murmur, like just fucking
Yeah,
shaking
yeah.
up the entire scene, dude, and like inspiring a lot of people. And yeah, it's been really exciting to kind of like, like I'm that guy waiting for black metal shit to drop. That's like F5ing, you know.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Where you
Yeah, man.
like, there's so few of a release that if you're not there the moment it hits the big cartel,
Oh,
yeah.
refreshing
Gone.
the browser with F5, like it's gonna be gone. So
Yeah,
I
like,
man.
hate that.
Yeah,
as
but
a
love it at the
I
same
hate
time.
that too. I hate that culture, but also it's exciting when you do it right and you're there for the drop. You know
Oh
what
yeah,
I mean?
like
get
I mean,
it,
the
and you're like,
culture's
"Oh."
not, I don't, not against the culture, but like I mean, it's just it's shit because you're just like I fucking want it, but at the same time, it's cool because it's sold out and people are supporting it. So I'm happy for that. But I'm just kind of just a bit like, I wish I had a copy.
Right. There's an increasing number of like shitty dudes flipping those records too, man. Like that double CD that Lamp dropped a while back, man. Motherfuckers are trying to get like €100 for that right now.
Yeah.
So that's becoming kind of shitty, and you have people that are not genuine beating you out for these albums and then turning around and selling them to you, and making a profit. So that sucks. That aspect of it sucks. But it's exciting to like. Basically, I'm so good at finding what I want in music. Like I know every avenue of buying music on the web. Like I'm a fucking Discogs hound. I'm all over Bandcamp. I'm fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
So to have like a challenge to get the kind of music I want, in a way, can be fun. You know what I mean? Whereas like I'm too good at it. Like now you got to put it in a claw machine for me.
Pumping quarters in. Oh, I've got to get that CD.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you heard that Pale? I can't pronounce the guy's name, but the Pale Swordsman album that dropped.
Yes. I don't know how to pronounce it either. In my mind, I just say Keth Eric, but that's the thing, dude. When I met with one of these like black metal dudes that does a small label out of Brooklyn, and he knows how to pronounce every one of the band names. So I want him to come over for a while because I'm doing all my research online. Like I'm the only person I talk to about half of these bands. You know what I mean? And like
maybe that's the thing, Trevor. You could start like a Rosetta Stone program for pronouncing.
I need it, dude. I need it. That's the other reason I don't have a podcast, is because 99% of the shit I like right now, I haven't said out loud once.
Oh, I know. When we do our roundup, when we do our monthly roundup shows, these two fuckers make me pronounce all the albums.
Half hour before, we're still trying to work out how it's to be said. I think we still say it wrong.
Yeah, dude. If I had a podcast, I'd literally hit up every band and be like, send me a voice note of you saying the band name.
Oh, that is not a bad shout.
That is a good shout. Yeah, write that down, Jim.
I'm just still saying it wrong. Yeah. So just finally, Trevor, you touched on films and how much of a sort of a horror buff and stuff you are. Now, me and Daz have never sat and watched like a full horror film. So can you give us one film each that we need to take away and watch and report back? I know,
Trevor. I've tried, mate. I've tried to get him into it, but they won't have it.
Because like you guys are. Wait, it works too good on you? You're too scared? Is that why?
I think I was mentally scarred as a kid because I had a fucking mate, right? And his like mum, I hope he doesn't listen to it. He probably won't listen to this, but his mum was a bit of a fucking, like, she's not a psycho or anything, but she was a bit like she was a bit inappropriate. Yeah, like I mean, she used to have like I remember a scene from The Exorcist. She used to have it on. I was only a kid, and I remember it. This like cart coming down and the sheet of glass coming off, chopping someone's head off. And I thought, fuck that, mate. All I want to do is play with fucking He-Man, mate. Do you know what I mean? I try to play with He-Man.
Ironically, I was fucking terrified of horror as a kid too, and I was terrified of blood.
That's my thing. That's my problem. Blood. Yeah, I'm like,
yeah, dude. If you're gonna watch a horror movie, some people may scoff at this, but dude, I think Hereditary is phenomenal movie.
Fucked up, innit?
It's fucked up movie. It had a huge impact on me. I don't really get shaken by much anymore. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm kind of jaded to
like desensitized
horror
to it.
In a way, desensitized. So I think it's a really special movie. It really plays with your emotions and
it's psychological, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's a whole slow burn of like psychological torment. Like you'll be like gripping the couch for the entire movie. And by the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, my hair's gray on the sides now. Like,
if it's
Jimmy and Daz already sweating already.
I know, man.
If it's shaking Trevor up, like I'm going to be fucked. I'm just going to be like, ugh.
Dude, you'll love it. I think you guys will love it, dude.
Right,
I'll
okay.
definitely check that out, man. I'll do it.
That's our homework. We'll report
That's
back.
your homework.
We'll report back to you, Trevor, if we've.
Oh my god, I'm gonna piss myself. I'm gonna piss myself.
Yeah, man. Just sit in a litter box, all right? Fill your pants up with wood chips.
Put some sawdust, right?
Yeah. Get the sawdust from elementary school.
Well, I'm kind of looking forward to it, and I'm not. But
Kinda.
yeah. So I think you were saying before, we've kept you so long, man. Thank you so long for so much.
No worries,
for
man. Like I
joining us.
said, dude, I
It's,
enjoy it. So
it's been an absolute
my
pleasure, man.
girlfriend calls me filibuster Strnad because I never shut the fuck up.
That's fucking amazing. Well, to be honest, mate, like we never thought that. Like we only started this up as a bit of a laugh and that, and to get to sort of where we are in such a short space of time, we've got someone like you and Carl Willits coming on. We've been listening to you guys since we were kids, really. Like so, it's a fucking complete dream, mate. It's made my life.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, I'm honored that you feel that way, and like Carl, I mean, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
talk about a legend,
Yeah,
dude,
that's
So
Trevor,
yeah, you guys are off to a good start, and like I'm glad I can like chip in and hopefully get more eyes on this for you.
Thank you so
Oh,
much,
Oh, mate,
man.
thank you so much. It means the world, man, that you've taken some time to chat with us this evening, and we hope, man, that touring looks like there's some light now at the end of the tunnel. So we just hope you guys can get back out on the road, because like Verminous those tracks deserve to be heard live, man. I'm buzzing to hear them.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. There's definitely some moments I'm really excited to bring across live. That solo section of Sunless Empire, for example.
Oh, so good.
yes.
I'm gonna nut during that part too.
I think we all
Stand there and watch
will.
Brandon like.
I'm probably gonna cry for the first 10 shows back. It's probably
Fucking sick, man.
Well, we'll be at the London date, man, and
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention like that tour is still looking good, man. We're excited about it. I was just talking to Jamie from Viscera the other day.
Yeah.
Sure.
And,
awesome.
good dude, old friend there. So yeah, I'm excited about that, man. So
So are we.
keep your shit in order over there, would you?
100%.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
it's-
Well, hopefully it's sorted now.
It's one of the
Fingers
only
crossed.
things our government seems to have got right is the vaccination rollout. So most of us have had it now. So the first one at least. So
Cool. Yeah, great.
yeah, I think by the time
it'd be
you
good.
guys come over at the start of next year, it'll all be completely back to normal. So yeah, buzzing, man, and
Fingers crossed.
we'll buy you a Pepsi Max at the bar because
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Give me a fucking iron brew, man.
Yeah,
Sick.
man.
Do this.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, thanks again, Trevor, man. It's been an
Thanks,
absolute
man.
pleasure.
Happy birthday, Jimmy.
Happy birthday, Jimmy.
Oh, you motherfuckers are the best. Thank you, man. And thank you, everybody, for listening to Bangers and Mosh, helping to keep heavy music alive. And in the words of Trevor, we will return.
Sick.